Why is it that some people seem to get very little done, and whereas other people are just so amazingly super productive? And we all have the same 24 hours in the day, regardless of who you are, whether you're somebody who's running an empire or whether it's like little old kind of me, just by myself. Whatever it is, we all have the same 24 hours a day. So ultimately, it's about how we use that time to do what we want to do to get the best possible results. So when we talk about being productive, ultimately what we're saying is we want to get more done in less time. That's essentially what we mean. So when we think about that concept, how is it that we can actually achieve that? So one of the ways I tend to do this is generally the night before, for the following day, I tend to make a list of the things I need to do. Good old traditional to-do list, scribble it all down. Here's a task that I need to get done. Then I prioritize that list because not everything on that list is necessarily going to get done. Hey, maybe we can all relate to doing a to-do list that we can't tick everything off. And that's because it's often not possible to get everything done. So we focus on what's the thing that's really important, what's most critical for me to do. And I will label that as an A task. That's the highest priority. They're the ones I want to get done first. They're the most important, most urgent task for me to do. Then I'll look at the ones what I call the B task. They're ones that are fairly important, but not as important as the super important ones. And if I can get all my A tasks finished, then I'll jump onto some Bs. And generally the C's are, hey, look, this is something I should do, or it's nice to do, but it's not super important. And often the C tasks are the ones that they get left. What I'll do is go to a D task, which is one I can delegate to somebody else. And a D task will be one that maybe I don't necessarily have to do. I've got a great sized team. I can pass to somebody else. They can do that and that can be delegated. There's also an amazing E as well, and E means eliminating it. So sometimes you have tasks that just jump from list to list to list, but never actually get done. And it may be that they can just get dropped altogether and they can get eliminated. What that then means is when I'm starting the day, the following day, nice and early in the morning, I don't have to think about, hey, look, I need to get ready. I need to kind of have a quick look on Facebook. I need to check my messenger and, I need to get warmed up before I start work. No, what I do, I start my list, I look at the A's and I just fire away straight onto the A's. And that way you are being most productive, getting the most things done. That's what works really well for me. Also, there'll be different times of the day where we're more productive. So for instance, the way I tend to work, I'm much more productive early in the morning. And then there's an afternoon time, like sort of 4, 5, 6 o'clock. I tend to be not as productive sometimes. My energy levels are lower. And when you recognize where you are most productive, then that's where you want to get your most creative tasks done and sometimes your most difficult task. Brian Tracy's got an amazing book called Eat That Frog. And he talks about doing the most uncomfortable tasks first and getting them out the way with. So often when we're putting together a list for the day, we look at which is the task that's just a miserable task that I know I need to do and I just need to get it done. If I get that one done and get it out the way, you feel so good to be able to tackle the rest of the tasks and be able to keep moving forward. There's also the Eisenhower matrix, which I encourage you to have a look at, where you can mark whether things are urgent, important, or not urgent and not as important. And you can categorize things as to what you should be working on first. So by prioritizing tasks and deciding which ones to do first and then allocating time to get them done, that's one of the ways to be amazingly productive in the time that we have to get the best possible results. Sometimes people will say, hey, look, I'm super busy. I've got so much going on. I just can't find the time. I'm time challenged or I'm time poor. And I've got a great solution for you if you're struggling with time. An amazing way that you can actually create so much more time each and every month, that in each typical month where you have a 4-week month, you could have a 5-week month. If you want me to share how that works, then make sure you pop a comment in the comment section below or leave us a review as well. But essentially what you would need to do is get up nice and early tomorrow, an hour early than you would normally do. So if you get up at 7 o'clock, say get up at 6 o'clock. And then when you go to sleep in the evening, sleep an hour later. And actually, just by doing those two things, i.e. getting up an hour early and sleeping an hour later, that gives you 730 hours extra in a typical year. And when you translate that back to a month, that's about 60 hours. 60 hours is more than the standard working week, about a week and a half. So within a normal month, you've effectively created enough time that's the equivalent of 1.5 normal working weeks. Now, hey, look, I know what you might be thinking right now. I ain't getting up an hour early and I ain't sleeping an hour later because I sleep very little anyway. And it may be the case, but some people, let's say somebody you know, maybe somebody you know very well, maybe sleeps a little bit too much. And even if it's an hour or half an hour they shaved off each end of the day, that's so much more time you can add in. And when you have more time, then you get edge over your competitors. If you want to exceed your competitors, you want to get better than your competitors, it's not just working harder, but if you've got more time, then you're going to be smashing way more than they are. Hey, if you're enjoying this content, then make sure you do me a favor. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. There's absolutely no charge for this content. And it encourages us to keep producing more of this content because YouTube will share it with more people. Then make sure you leave us a review and share this with at least one person you think will benefit from this. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video.